All right, welcome to Miserable Party of One, or should I say, Miserable Party of None. First, I want to thank y'all for tuning in wherever you may be, and keep in mind this is the first installment of many communications to come. Today, we're going to go over a few scenarios, some myths and negative mindsets that are out there that all stem around anything that has to do with living a healthy lifestyle, like detoxing, cleansing, fasting, self imposed dietary restrictions like vegetarianism. And lastly, I'd like to throw out a little advice on how to deal with the clean eating critics, and that critic might even be yourself. Just remember, there is no need to be miserable. Let's get started. You might be wondering what's up with the finger puppets. This one is me in my little classroom, ready to teach. Each topic I discuss with you is going to be opened up with one of my nifty little characters I created, because I thought it would be fun to put a face to each of these miserable little people you're about to encounter. You or someone you know just might be able to identify with one or more of them. I would highly encourage you to write down anything and everything that comes to mind during this podcast, or make mental notes if you're tuning in while on a walk or cooking dinner. I know you'll be able to connect to the scenarios that I'm about to present, and we're going to walk through them and discuss how to get around each one. There's no sense in being miserable when you're trying to be the exact opposite. Get ready, get set, here we go.
I am totally on the master cleanse right now. It is horrible, but whatever. I'm gonna be 5 pounds lighter in like 2 hours from now, so detox ahoy, baby! Oh god, I think I'm gonna pass out.
Thank you, Daisy, for illustrating the myth that detoxification is a miserable experience and that it can be done in a very short amount of time. The fact is, fad diets, such as the Master Cleanse, are not detoxification. Have you ever tried one of those little box kits? You can't undo the years of cellular damage that have been done over your lifetime in the span of a few days. We often have a very short term memory when it comes to remembering the foods, drinks, and substances we've ingested over the years. Whether you had a short term addiction to ho hos as a child, or a serious partier in college, or have eaten fast food several times a month for your entire life, you have to remember those man made preservatives, colorants, sweeteners, etc. can get stored in your bodily tissues, and they aren't typically easy to get out. If they were, they wouldn't get stored there in the first place. But your body literally doesn't know what these substances are, whether it should keep it or throw it away. And if it wants to throw it away, it might not even understand how to get rid of it. So, we are definitely going to spend more time on this concept in the future. Today is just a warm up, but we are merely touching base on the fact that if you want to make a healthy lifestyle change, if you want to cleanse your body, this is not going to be an overnight adventure. This is going to take some time, but it's going to actually be effective. There are plenty of resources out there online and also at the library and magazines these days that cover the topic of detoxification. And I highly encourage that you check them out. Educate yourself.
Wait a minute. You telling me you don't eat meat? You don't eat any meat. Where in God's name does your protein come from then?
Oh, Grandma. Haven't you ever ran into someone that challenges you for your food choices? I've dealt with this one several times. I don't like to eat a lot of meat. I just do better without it. I'm not really a vegetarian or vegan in particular, but I just feel better without it. The myth that vegetarians and vegans, they're hippies or they're people that don't know any better. It's not the way humans are supposed to eat. It's not healthy. You need to have meat to survive. It's such a perpetuated myth that I think is going out of style, but still a lot of people have not gotten the memo. Grandmas in particular get especially concerned. The fact is, it must be a miracle that gorillas and elephants are alive, considering they are herbivores too. I use that example a lot. People don't understand that some of the most large, muscular animals in the world are not meat eaters themselves. That kind of makes them think for a second. But the bottom line is, folks, we have got to squash the misconception that people can't survive without meat. And this too is a topic that needs expanded upon in a later podcast. But for now, let's be clear about one thing. It's totally possible to be an unhealthy vegan or vegetarian. I see it all the time, and I'm sure you have too. There are plenty of food products out there that are meat free and terrible for you. And it's absolutely possible to be a healthy meat eater. There's nothing wrong with eating meat. That's a personal choice. Everyone has to find what works for them personally. The sooner you realize that, the better. If you'd rather avoid meat, more power to you. You don't need to defend yourself to anyone. If you want to eat meat, great, but don't shove it down anyone else's throat, and do not harass anyone who chooses to eat it. I encourage you to be body conscious and notice how you feel after what you eat. I know for me, keeping a food diary is an excellent way to keep track. That's really helped me get a little bit more in tune with my body, and I think that that might be something that you want to implement just to help yourself understand, okay, when I eat this, an hour from then, I feel hungry and depressed, or, whatever the case may be. Take those notes, and being a little bit more aware of your body will definitely take you a long way.
So what I'm doing is I just drink lemon water for a day until the headaches get too intense, and then I eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's.
Oh, Judy, that's just, ugh, I tell you what. There's nothing worse than perpetuating the myth that fasting is eating nothing or drinking nothing but water and is impossible to do, and it's a stupid fad, when the fact is that while more and more people are doing juice fasts, especially in Hollywood, and all the celebrities are swearing up and down about them, that it's a reason for their glowing skin, and on and on. That might definitely be the case, but it's a bit misleading. Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. And in the case of a juice fast, too much of a good thing can be a very bad thing. We'll touch more on that in the future, but for now, keep this analogy in mind. Fresh fruit and vegetable juice is a lot like holy water. It is amazing stuff. But you throw that holy water on a demon, which is your toxicity, and we have a scene straight out of The Exorcism, y'all. You don't believe me? Chug a gallon of apple juice and let me know how your day or night goes on the porcelain throne. Don't forget, slow and steady wins the race. Start small, work your way up to larger portions of juice, and just take your time. This isn't an all or nothing approach. You'd be setting yourself up for failure, and you too would be sitting down eating a gallon or a pint or whatever of Ben and Jerry's ice cream if you were that miserable too. It doesn't need to be this way.
I do not do dairy. Don't even get me started on it.
Man, Lucille is such a peach. Wouldn't you love to work with her? She has just gotten so beat down and cranky and crabby because, she just thinks that I'm lactose free. I've made a food choice because I have deemed this food or this substance, in her case milk, to be basically the devil. And she doesn't even want to encourage you or educate you on it. She's perpetuating that stereotype that people who omit things from their diet are snobby, or difficult, or just plain picky. But really, if you're nixing dairy, wheat, gluten, or whatever it might be from your diet, know that that's okay. It's admirable even. Going against the grain is never easy. But understand that a lot of the feedback you get from others is based on your attitude and your approach to the topic. It's also based on the other person's perceived notions. But if you come off all high and mighty, people will not be excited to talk to you about your food choices. You'll miss many an opportunity to teach others, if they wish to hear more, that is. No one likes to be preached to. Don't get judgmental with others. If you are happy and feeling great, then let that positivity radiate outward. I encourage and challenge you to reflect on some of the preconceived notions and fears that you might have surrounding making healthy lifestyle changes. Will your friends or family members put up a fuss about you eating better? Or are you afraid that you might talk yourself out of making a change because it doesn't follow the norm? The sooner you begin to evaluate yourself, the sooner you'll be ready to form a goal and make a lasting change in your life. Hopefully, this podcast has helped you. But it's important to personally understand these few key concepts, and maybe it sparked your interest to learn some more. I cannot wait to delve deeper into these topics with you in my next installment. Stay tuned.